I remember when I first got it. I was at home, and my best friend Michael called me and said, "Hey, you want to come eat? Let's go to Nick and Jake's and go eat. But first, come over to the house. I got to share this new strand with you." So I go over his house, sit down with him, play with my favorite dog, Bo, and hit this new strand. And it was good. It wasn't a joint or a blunt. It was the wax. I preferred the wax because everything else is just a little bit too strong smelling and it carries, but the wax is just right and it's the right percentage and it's the right concentrate. I love it. So we're higher as we could be, as high as we could be, probably could be higher. I jump in this car and we head to Nick and Jake's. As soon as I get in the building, I feel weird. So we go sit down in this room with a lot of other people sitting in it at the tables eating their food. And the acoustics sounded real weird. Like everything was in height. You could hear noise over noise over noise over noise. And that just did something to me. So I felt nauseous. And then feeling nauseous, my boy looks at me. He says, "Are you all right? You don't look right." Like, man, I feel sick. I feel nauseous. I feel like I want to throw up. He said, "Well, don't throw up here. It's my job." "Oh, man, did you feel like this before you came?" I said, "No, I felt good. We hit the weed and then, we went out here and all of a sudden I started feeling bad." So he felt bad. He's a little frustrated too because we drove all the way out here. We can't even order anything. He ordered something to drink and that was it. And I couldn't even take that. So he took me to my car and I went home. So the next day I went to work and I felt okay. I didn't feel bad. The day before I took some Tylenol and ibuprofen and, I slept on it. And so I woke up and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll go to work." So I go to work. This was December 2019. This was before COVID. On That Doesn't Make Sense. We're talking about COVID-19. So, like I said, this was before COVID. This was when people were getting sick and dying from what we thought was just the flu virus that was failing. The flu shot failure. Deaths. Even though I was tracking, there was a wife and husband team on a show called Hometown. She was sick. There were other actors and actresses that were sick. There were other people around me that were actually getting sick too. But I went to work. Had a fairly good day. Went home and I was fine. And then I just felt like I needed to go to sleep. So I went to my wife and I said, "I'm tired. I'm going to go lay down." That was on a Wednesday. When I went to bed, I woke up in the middle of maybe 7, 8, and my whole body ached. It felt like I was being burned. Like somebody had a space heater on me, and my body was my skin was sensitive to everything. My low back hurted, my whole body hurted. It didn't matter what position I went in. I was aching, and it got worse. And I felt like I was going to die. And for 4 days straight, that's how I felt. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't drink anything. Nothing would stay down. And then one day I woke up and I was feeling better. I couldn't use COVID pay or COVID because there was no such thing as COVID at that time. But it's funny how there's no such thing as COVID, but it's on our aerosol cans, COVID-18. It kills COVID-18. But anyway, so then eventually I started noticing people around me getting sick. And then all of a sudden, this COVID thing started happening. And then we get all the false reports of, or the reports that are probably false or probably true. I'm not really sure. I try not to listen to what everybody else is doing or what they're trying to have you do or trying to have us do or not do. Only thing I know is the way of life changed. We had to wear a mask. We had to stay away from each other. It got so bad that one day I was at a store and they have these lines that you're supposed to stand on. So when the next person ahead of you goes, you can go. The person was checking out and I was standing on top of the line, but I guess the lady couldn't see the line that was checking the other person out. So she leaned over the counter just to yell at me and tell me that I needed to go back and stand on the line. I looked down, I lifted my legs, I looked back at the people behind me. They looked at me, they looked just as confused as I did because I was on top of the line. And maybe she should have just minded her own damn business and did her job. But I guess they delegated that job to her too. This COVID-19 thing has been real crazy. People fighting, and it happened that this was happening at the same time the George Floyd thing was happening and all the other stuff that was happening. And to me, I'm prior service. There's a certain thing that they tell us not to do, and listening to everything that's being reported on the news is not one of them. Some things you have to take into consideration, like your health. And that's one thing I've realized about COVID is it's the survival of the fittest disease. Like they're talking about extinction, people going into extinction, and this is, for me, this was part of it. So I kind of seen this coming when I first caught it, but I felt like since I had already caught it, that I didn't have to worry about it as much as everybody else. Plus, they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. U.S. would say it was coming from China. China was saying it come from U.S. Well, I believe that it's something that's been here. Somebody's been probably playing with it and heightening it and trying to use it or weaponize it, and it backfired or what have you. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I just want to stay clear away from it and make sure that I do the things that I needed to do, like take the meds, take my zinc, my vitamin C, my vitamin D, my NyQuil, my DayQuil, my Theraflu, because in my mind, this was like the flu on crack. Friends, associates that were already sick from something else or dying, people who are healthy or dying or getting really sick. And for years, this has been going on now. So now we're all the way up to here. I work for the school district, and I came home and I didn't feel good. And so I woke up the next day thinking I was going to go to work. And I was coughing and hacking so much. I was like, nope. I feel like I have the cold, but at the same time, I feel like something else is going on. So my supervisor told me, don't come in. She gave me a test, a self-test. I self-tested. It was positive. So I waited a little bit, a couple days while sitting at home. And then I went to my doctor, and she tested me, and it was positive. My son tested positive. My wife tested negative, and she was sick. But last time, when my wife's grandfather was passing, her dad was going to the hospital a lot to visit him before he passed, and he ended up catching it. So I've been in quarantine before, but I didn't catch it. And for some reason, I was sure that I wasn't going to catch this either. And I didn't. I didn't catch it. My wife didn't catch it. My father-in-law's wife didn't catch it. Nobody caught it in that house. The kids didn't catch it. No one caught COVID. So then I started chalking it up to my O positive blood. I was told that O positive blood doesn't have antigens in it. So it doesn't have anything that the COVID can attach to. But obviously it can attach to something, because I ended up catching it again, but just like a lighter dosage of it. To where I feel like I needed to go out and go do things to get better, but I didn't want to get anybody else sick. But so we're living in this bubble, and we're trying to do everything we can to take care of ourselves. And while I'm watching myself get better, I'm listening and watching reports on Spotify about Neil Young and gosh, I can't remember. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. The false COVID accusations or things are being taken off Spotify. Spotify is being a lot of people, they're losing viewers because people are asking that all the false content about COVID-19 be taken off of the air, which is true. We don't need anybody going up and telling us that I'm going to take some horse pills and that's going to make you guys feel better if you take horse pills. I took horse pills, so everybody else should do it. And I don't know if that was said or anything else like that. I'm sure that people are sharing things about what they do. And for me, I'll just tell you, I didn't do anything crazy. I NyQuil at night, DayQuil in the daytime. If I ran out of NyQuil or DayQuil, then the Theraflu, that's the little package that you put in your hot water. Drink that down. Sleep, eat, drink, stay plenty of fluids, plenty of water, and plenty of vitamins. And just stay on it. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, if you prefer. However you do to get rid of the cold, that's how I was fighting COVID. And it took long. It took just as long as it did with the cold, but it's gone. Well, kind of. I feel like it's still there. I wake up and I breathe in and I breathe out, and then you get that phlegm still in your throat. So I feel like until that's gone, I don't know. You know, and I still have yet to go to the doctor's office again and take my third test, because I want to make sure that before I go to work that I'm not going to be passing that on to someone. And then I'm going to make sure when I get to work that I'm going to stay far away from these kids and adults that have had it before. And that was the thing about COVID. When I was at school doing my custodial thing, the teachers around me were catching it. Like teachers I would interact with, have conversations with. They were catching it. They were getting sick. And it was scaring me, because these are the classrooms I have to clean up. These are the classrooms that have to be cleaned up. And these people are getting sick. They're not dying, but they're getting sick. They're coming back to school. So somebody made a comment about somebody being asymptomatic and spreading it and not even knowing they're spreading it. And just yesterday I was binge watching All of Us Are Dead. And on there, they have the zombies that get bit, that bite people. And there are people that get bit by the zombies, and the zombies will stop biting you because you're asymptomatic. So once they bite you enough times, they don't mess with you anymore, because your blood and that virus are already one or something like that. So my things that don't make sense to me are, after all these years of all this research that's being done, we've come up with shots. I'm fully vaccinated, and fully vaccinated is, according to the CDC, is 2 shots. I'm Moderna, Medea. I got both my Medeas. I didn't get a booster. I never really, it didn't feel like it was a necessary thing. If that the time was to come for me to get it, or if it was offered to me, then yeah, I'd probably get it. I'm not knocking somebody that's not getting it. I'm just gonna pray for you, but I'm gonna pray for you if you do get it, because some people can handle this and some people's body can't. Like I said before, for me, I think it's the survival of the fittest disease. This is the extinction disease. Animals are dying from one thing or being extinct from one thing. Humans are going on something else. But if you look through history, there have been things that have been out in the atmosphere that we've had to fight off through centuries. Every decade or so, every new president or so, we have something else we have to fight off, something else that we have to take care of. It doesn't make sense why we have to deal with it, like mad cow disease or smallpox or any of that stuff. And you can look in your history books, and the history books will show these things that have been killing off people, and then we finally end up taking a shot or something, and our immune system gets used to it, and we fight it off. What's never made any sense to me is the people that don't want to get the shots. Like I said, I'm not knocking you, but this stuff has been, they say God makes you the way you are, your immune system, so you can fight these things off, whatever they come. But God also created human beings with intelligence and with the power to save other lives. That's why we have doctors, lawyers, nurses, scientists, and these scientists come together with these doctors and they create things to help us. But if you're not wanting to take the shot, and then you're not wanting to wear a mask when you're sick, because I've been at a mall and there was a lady sitting, me and my wife came in, and I'm vaccinated. Nobody else in my family is vaccinated. Well, my immediate family, my wife and my kids aren't vaccinated. We're going through the mall, mask. We've already had the conversation about the mask. I'm going to wear my mask because I don't trust how people interact out here. So we go into the mall. First thing I see is this lady just hacking and coughing, and she doesn't have a mask on. And it just didn't make sense to me. Why are you sitting there hacking and coughing? You don't have your mask on. And then she's just talking about, oh, whatever. We all got to get sick from something. No, we all don't have to get sick from what you're sick from. Whatever you have, I don't want it. So put your fucking mask on, you know? Hey, I don't have a problem with the mask. There's other countries where they have to wear things over their faces because, that's their culture. In China, if you go because of air pollution, they wear masks. So they don't have to breathe in all the air pollution. But what I've never understood is, what are all these masks going to stop, really? Like, if I sneeze, it's going to come out the sides. It's going to be in the air. You know, somebody's going to walk by. Have you ever seen Outbreak, the movie with the monkey? My favorite part in that movie was the part where the guy sneezed in the movie theater, and then that sneeze particles went all the way over to somebody else, and he sucked it up. And then it just kept spreading from there. Everybody's getting sick. Everybody's bleeding from the eyes and other orifices. And then they finally found a cure or whatever. I can't remember. I gotta watch this movie again because it was the bomb movie. It was scary. And they did a re-release of it on Netflix and probably made some good money. Probably scared the mess out of some people. But why do we have COVID-18 on our aerosol cans, our Lysol cans? And they didn't just pop up on there. It's been on there. If you look at your aerosol cans, it will say COVID-18. So now I'm trying to figure out what COVID-18 is. And then after COVID-18, what's COVID-17? What's COVID-16? Where did it come from? Because that would probably tell me where COVID-19 came from. So it's the coronavirus. Regardless of what number you put on it, it's the coronavirus. So COVID-18, I've tried to find it. I can't find it, but I want to know why it's on the aerosol cans. I've Googled it. I went from COVID-18 to COVID-17, COVID-16. Can't find it. The only thing I can find is coronavirus. Coronavirus. So, and I know like SARS, the variants, and things like that. I've heard of those. They got the new COVID coming out. They got the new COVID coming out. The new COVID, the Omicron variant, along with that Tupac CD. You know, they got all these other things. I want to know why we're getting told bits and pieces of information, and where can we get our full truth information. And I don't want the truth information for somebody to come up and debug, and for people's opinion about how they feel, and they try to lead people. Stop looking at your TikToks. Those people aren't scientists. They aren't doctors. They're people that are out there, and they're trying to get you to follow them. Don't forget that there's a 80%, and you could be a part of that, just following what somebody else is telling you to do. I don't go to concerts and hang out with no mask on. If I can't catch it on Netflix, I'm not really going to the movies unless that movie theater is empty. I'm just trying to do everything that I can to be safe, and then try to find out what these different variants of corona are. And I still want to know what COVID-18 is. What is COVID-18? Where did it come from? The coronavirus candidate for the Russian flu. You know, like there's so many different things, and that was in 1889. So this is what my theory was at first, because I have to go back to Russia, and so back they had this lake, and this lake was a beautiful place. People lived by the Russian army came, and they started making this facility, and this facility was creating diseases and things like that for weapons, for warfare. Okay. So, and it was a documentary. I watched this documentary. It's on Netflix. This documentary, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a documentary, and it's talking about the Russian bioweapons and how the lakes dried up, or the lakes became really polluted. Now everything around here is toxic and dying and diseases. You go out there and you're not, you're not protected. You could die out there. You can catch something and bring it out into the open. So then I started thinking about that. These documentary people, they come out here, they take these videos, they do all this stuff, or that was one theory, that this is something that's already out, that we're just grabbing accidentally and we're putting it out, or Russia might be killing us, or whatever is going on. But if they're doing that, trying to do that to us, then they're killing their own people too. So this can't be something that somebody is just purposely bringing out and trying to murder people. I don't believe that. Unless that proof is right there. I'm also an environmental advocate. Environmental issues. I believe that our earth is getting hotter. Humans are using things more than they should, and polar ice caps are melting. Antarctica is becoming is melting. Everything's melting there. So think about all the diseases that these animals and all the things that have been put up under the ice, all these new things that have been frozen forever that we don't know about, that have been here for a very long time. And now since these caps are melting, they're free, and they're in our oceans, and they're in our water, and they're in our air, and they're in our life. Because I refuse to believe that a mart, a shopping center in China that specializes in exotic foods, exotic animals, is the beginning of this pandemic. It's got to be something more biological. It's got to be something more natural. And I for one, kind of thought it was the earth doing its thing to protect itself. This is a living planet, and if I was living and you were on me and you were hurting me, I'm gonna take a Tylenol or an aspirin or things like that to make sure that I get you off of me. And that probably doesn't make sense, but I don't know what else to do for it to make sense to anyone, except for to talk about it and for it to at least make a little bit more sense to me. Whatever it is, whatever we're going through, how many people you've lost, loved ones or unloved ones, just remember that we're all human, and we have to take care of ourselves, and we have to take care of each other. We can't help everyone, though. No, everyone cannot be helped. We can try, but if they're not going to listen, if they're not going to do the things that they need to do to keep themselves safe and alive, then we have to put them behind us and put ourselves forward, and the ones that are listening and doing what they're supposed to do. Be leaders, don't be followers. And if no one wants to follow your lead, then continue to do what you're supposed to do to take care of yourself. You can't make anybody do anything you don't want them to, or anything you want them to. You can't. The only thing you can do is pray for them. So instead of fighting with people, instead of trying to be that person to try to lead everybody and try to be the hero, save yourself. Save yourself by taking care of yourself and take care of the ones that need you and are accepting your help. And quit listening to all the bullshit that gets spread from these people who aren't scientists. Go and look this information up for yourself if you have to. Don't go following the wrong people. Don't go following someone that wants you to drink bleach, horse pills, anything like that. Snorting Drano, whatever you think that you can use to get rid of this, don't do it. Wash your hands and wash your ass. Because when I seen COVID-18 on the aerosol cans, or coronavirus on the aerosol cans, I was like, maybe this is one of those diseases where people just need to wash their ass. Maybe this is the disease that is showing people like, you're nasty and you need to clean yourselves right. You need to make sure that your breath is right, your teeth, you're flossing, you're scrubbing in between the fingers and toes, you're drying off the right way, your butthole's cleaned, you know. Maybe this is that disease that's here to take those people out that aren't doing what they're supposed to do. I don't know. And I'm not doing this because I know. And I'm not doing this to lead someone because I think I know. I'm just sharing my opinion. And I hope that my opinion isn't dangerous to someone else. And I hope that everybody survives this. Like my second time catching COVID, I didn't take it lightly. I was more upset than anything because I thought I was doing everything I can. Hell, I'm the nigga that cleans up. I'm around bleach. I'm around these things. I'm around hand sanitizer. I have gloves on. You know, I'm around these cleaners. So how am I catching it? There's no explanation. Only thing you need to do and the only thing you need to know is that you need to be safe. You need to be safe. You need to be smart and take care of yourself. This is Michael Porter with That Doesn't Make Sense.